Hey all, I welcome you all to Bhadra Academy, and in this session basically we'll be continuing with another topic which is clearly mentioned in your CUET syllabus. So that is concept of secondary activities, right? So let's talk about the fact that what do we mean by secondary activities? See, secondary activities is an arena of activities, I would say, which is different from primary activities. If you can recall the lesson in which we have taught about the primary activities were the set of activities which were mainly being performed in absolutely raw sectors. For example, fishing, for example, doing farming, for example, doing agricultural activities. Those things were primary activities. But if I talk about secondary activities, so secondary activities here basically involves the processing sector, the manufacturing sector, and the construction sector. Means, see, through the primary activities we obtain raw material, and those raw materials are processed, right, and being manufactured to something other thing else, right? So that is what is called secondary activities. Basically this sector adds value to the natural resource. Now let's talk about that what are the types of secondary activities. See, in secondary activities के types we will see manufacturing industry, cottage industry and construction industries are falling under secondary types. Now what is this? In manufacturing industry there are two subtypes basically. One is a small scale industries and one is large scale industry. Scale industry basically uses limited capital and labor, but at the same time if I talk about large scale industry, they uses advanced technology and large capital for the manufacturing activities. If I talk about cottage industry, what do we mean by cottage industry? These are home based traditional industry which basically uses local raw material and manual labor. So basically this is what the classification of manufacturing as well as cottage industry. So in simple short, if I just cut short this whole thing up, then it is clear that manufacturing is either small scale industry or large scale industry. But if I talk about cottage industry, the very good example of cottage industry is, for example, if you are growing bamboo, right, and through bamboo we do construction of different like products, right? Now if I ask my family that please construct this product for me, and I am doing construction of some utensil, my mother is doing something, my father is doing something, my wife is doing something, means the family only does the construction activities like the manufacturing, right? So that is the cottage industry. At the same time construction is also one of the other sector. Now let's talk about the types of manufacturing by output use. If I talk about, then these are the classification where lies consumer good industry. Matlab, what are the consumer good industry? The very good example is clothes, right? At the same time capital good industry, if I talk about, means if you're purchasing heavy machinery, those comes under capital good industry. Basic and heavy industry, matlab iron and steel industry comes under this category of basic and heavy industry, where the processing of raw material is like no raw material is processed and then some other thing is manufactured. At the same time, if I talk about light industry, means they use light raw material and produce goods. For example, electronical goods are produced, right? Now the question also stands, what are the factors that influences the location of industry? There are n number of factors where we see availability of raw material is one of the major factor. But if there is availability of raw material, then only you can setting up of your industry, right? If there is no raw material, then how would you survive, right? Next is power supply, skilled labor. These things are important. If there is no power, how will you manufacture it? If there is no laborers who are skilled in this sector, then who will be guiding them, right? Transportation and infrastructure is also needed here. Market access is also required, and governmental policies. If governmental policies are conducive, then there is high probability that industries can be set up. For example, if you see the condition of Assam, like 10 years down the lane, then 10 years back, then you will be observing that there was no much industries. But now since there is the internal rift has come down, right? The militant organizations have said that okay, we'll not be doing these activities. So there is predictability in political arena. That's why the manufacturing started has coming along. The question also stands that what is the importance of secondary activities? See, secondary activities means manufacturing, it basically adds on value to the raw material. The raw material which was earlier there, that was not valued. For example, a piece of potato is not valued, but if we cut the potato and make the chips out of it, yes, that is valued, right? So yes, it generates employment as well, because many people are being employed in this sector. It boosts the economic development as well as it promotes urbanization and infrastructural growth. So these are all about the secondary activities that we have discussed, and this is all for this very session. We'll be meeting in next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.